Round 9 of the NRL gave us Raiders comeback magic, a classic up in Townsville, and 2 Tigers being sent to the naughty corner. Welcome to LTW. The round started at Accor Stadium between the Rabbitohs and the Panthers. A grand total of 12 Rabbitohs fans showed up to support their side in a week where they finally pulled the trigger and let go of head coach Jason Demetriou. With only a couple of days in charge of the club, interim coach Ben Hornby said that the one thing he was looking for from his side was effort. And accordingly, the Rabbitohs started the game looking much better and more determined than they have in a really long time. A sin bin to Panther Isaac Tungo proved the perfect opportunity for the Rabbitohs, scoring the first 2 tries of the game and looking the much better side. Now, from that point, what do you think happened next? Penrith went on to score the next 7 tries, including one that sent the Rugby League world mad. Souths had kicked the ball over the dead ball line. Dylan Edwards carried the ball back for a 20-metre restart, sprinting and going straight past a number of just jogging Rabbitohs defenders, and passing to Taylor May, who was through behind the Rabbitohs line and had no one in front of him, scoring the easiest runaway try of his career. South came out of the game wounded as well, with fullback Jai Gray and halfback Dean Hawkins both succumbing to long-term injuries, and captain Cameron Murray suffering a hip flexor injury that could see him out for 2 months. It is dire straits for South Sydney. Then Friday began at Brookvale Oval, where the Manly Sea Eagles hosted a Canberra Raiders side who'd been beaten 40-0 at home the week before. Manly started very hot, scoring the first 4 tries in the opening 26 minutes, and it really looked like just the same story as last week for the very inexperienced Raiders side. And things went from bad to worse for the Green Machine when Albert Hopewati was sin-binned for giving away repeated penalties. It looked like there were very few avenues back into the game for the Canberra side, and yet a comeback was born off the back of 34-year-old back rower Elliot Whitehead. The Englishman finished with 2 tries, a try assist and 4 tackle breaks, helping his Raiders come back from 24-6 down to reach 24-20, before rookie 5'8" Ethan Strange put a deft grubber kick into the in goal that was chased through by Hudson Young, who put the ball down to score and send the travelling Raiders fans absolutely berserk. A fantastic win for the Raiders. And then rounding out Friday, we had what was earmarked as the game of the round between the Broncos and the Roosters. In the first 20 minutes, the Broncos had the vast majority of field position and possession, and really would have come away with a lot more than just 1 try if not for some fantastic Roosters goal line defence. Once the Roosters got some field position back, they crossed at the first time of asking through Kiwi centre Joseph Manu, and really they just kicked on from there. Former New South Wales back rower Angus Crichton once again staked his claim to a recall into the Origin arena, finishing the game with 2 tries, a try assist, a line break, 2 line break assists, and 154 running metres. Personally, I think the last month of footy that we've seen from him is the best that he's produced in his career. The game was defined though by a bicep injury to Brisbane captain Adam Reynolds, which will see him out until at least the start of the finals. The Broncos did rally in the absence of their halfback, registering 2 tries in the minutes that followed him leaving the field. But from that point on, the Roosters really punished them, putting on an absolute attacking masterclass to be the first team in a year and a half to put 40 points on the Broncos. Then Saturday kicked off with the rebuild derby between the Bulldogs and the Tigers. The Tigers came into this game without captain Api Coruscant and were really on the back foot early, giving away about 1 million set restarts, but somehow not conceding any points. And then they went up the other side of the field and got a try through Charlie Staines at the very first time of asking. With a penalty goal following, West had done very well to be leading 8-0 in a game that Canterbury had dominated. The side scored a try each before half-time, with the Tigers leading 14-6 at the break. The second half felt much the same in terms of Canterbury dominance, but the Tigers had just lost every semblance of the resilience that had got them the lead in the first place. Josh Curran and Bronson Sherry scored the only 2 tries of the second half, putting the game beyond the reach of the Tigers. And tempers did flare towards the end of the game, with the 2 sides coming together for a scuffle, leading to David Clemmer being sin-binned for dissent, and Alex Seyfarth being binned for a headbutt. Halfback Aiden Caesar had been incredibly lucky to escape the sin bin himself with a hip drop tackle earlier in the game that will see the halfback now suspended for 4 weeks. A very ill-disciplined and disappointing evening from the Tigers. Following that was a showdown up on the Gold Coast between the Titans and the Storm. Melbourne started the game really well, but as was a theme this round, they failed to register any points. The Titans lost halfback Tanner Boyd after only 8 minutes, but it was his veteran halves partner Kieran Foran who opened the scoring, showing absolute determination to beat 4 Melbourne forwards and lunge over the try line. Melbourne responded really well though. My notes include beauties such as Storm playing Champagne Rugby League and Far Longo you crazy kiddo. The rookie was only in his second game of NRL, but showed an absolutely scintillating pair of heels to score a brilliant solo try. As happens every time we see this guy play, he has once again announced himself to the NRL world. Melbourne showed some of the most crisp and clean attack we've seen from anyone this year, registering 4 tries in 13 minutes to earn a commanding lead. But as far as try scoring goes, that's all that Melbourne had. A number of really simple errors defined the rest of the game for them, and the Titans found a way to punish them on more than one occasion. Everything the Gold Coast did in attack went through fullback AJ Brimson, who reminded everyone just what his best position really is. A number of controversial moments defined the rest of the game, with a penalty goal to the Storm proving to be the difference in the end, with Melbourne getting their 4th win by 4 points or less this season. Then closing off Saturday was a game between the Cowboys and the Dolphins. North Queensland came into this one on the back of 3 consecutive losses, so they were desperate for a win. And they started very well, scoring 2 tries in the first 10 minutes, including an immense physical effort from forward Ruben Cotter, who carried a number of Dolphins defenders over the try line in what was an incredible show of strength for a man of his size. From then on though, it was a little bit of an I score, you score type game. But the man who was keeping the Dolphins in the contest was 5'8" Cody Nikorima. The Kiwi has often been seen as a bit of a Mr. Fix-It utility type player throughout his career, but I think this was the best game we've seen him play in the NRL. Nikorima finished the game with 3 try assists and 2 line break assists, and had a hand in just about everything good that the Dolphins did. 2 Cowboys tries came off the Dolphins failing to catch kicks, which was effectively what kept North Queensland in the game. A late try to Jeremiah Nane gave Valentine Holmes a chance to level the score from the sideline, but the Origin star hung the kick out to the left, meaning the Dolphins won a brilliant contest. Then Sunday brought us 2 very closely contested games, starting with a trip to Newcastle for the New Zealand Warriors. These sides were the feel-good stories of last year, with both teams making the finals. But coming into this game, it was 12th versus 13th, and neither side had shown the best that they can play this season. The Knights applied a heap of attacking pressure early, and eventually got their reward when Charles Nickel Klukstad failed to clean up a grubber kick, which Tyson Gamble pounced on to open the scoring. The New Zealand side looked an absolute shadow of themselves for the opening 20 minutes, and to be honest, I'm surprised that Newcastle didn't score more. But that momentum did eventually shift, and credit to the Warriors for making that happen. A moment of fantastic deception from hooker Wade Egan put Dylan Walker over to open the Warriors scoring. From that point onwards though, I've got to say the game was an absolute bludger to watch. Back-to-back wins for the Knights, and the Warriors now go a full month without a win. With the Roosters and the Panthers in the coming weeks, Andrew Webster's side are in some real danger. And then lastly, the local derby between the Sharks and the Dragons. Dragons coach Shane Flanagan lit the fuse for this fixture earlier in the week, pointing out how nice it would be to beat his former side and mentioning that they haven't won a premiership since he left them. To be fair though, Shane hasn't won a premiership either since he left Cronulla, so the Sharks controlled field position early and the pressure did eventually crack when Oregon Kafusi charged over for a try after 13 minutes. Watching the game, I expected Cronulla to go on with it and get the next couple of tries, but the exact opposite is what happened. A weight of possession towards the Dragons meant that Michaeli Ravalawa was able to cross for 2 tries in the first half, sending the Dragons into the sheds with the lead. The game was well and truly in the balance for most of the second half. It looked like it was going to require a bit of magic to just break the game open. And that is exactly what happened. Big Tom Hazelton angled his head downwards, deflecting the beam from the floodlights off his head and into the eyes of the Dragons players, and he strolled over for a try while the Red V were all blinded. Elite stuff. And that was League This Week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.